Greetings, brethren. I am back with more news from my Beccas Commands project. I have done some of the colors. Also, I've marked my spot this time, so I actually know where to hold the miniatures, so you can even see them in the video, as they were a little bit off center last time. Anyway, the way I do these is sort of my interpretation of the Dallimore style, or I guess Foundry style, with the triads of paints, which I guess in itself is just a modern interpretation, really, of how miniature painting has been done for many, many years. But I just really like how they come out. They have sort of a soft finish, these paints, and it just looks really nice on fantasy miniatures, I think. So I start with a black base coat, and then I dry brush on the metals, like I did with this one and with this one. They have a bunch of metal. Then I dry brush on. Actually, I can show you the paints. I started with oily steel, dry brushed that on. Actually, no, I didn't use natural. I used silver for a bit of a highlight, but also just dry brushed this on. Then I washed the entire metal areas with Agrax Earthshade, or actually I think it was my own homemade brown wash. And then I added some silver highlights, and I think the effect looks really good for a beaten metal. Then after that, I clean up with black any of the silver that spilled over in non-metal areas. And then I paint on all the skin. In this case, I used 4 different tones. And then I did the furs, which 3 of these have. So I'll show you the shaman first. I gave him a bit of a grayish skin tone, which I believe is German Splinter Tan from Foundry. And then I used granite for the fur, and I'm a bit annoyed because it kind of is very similar looking. So there's not a lot of difference between the fur and the skin, which means I might give the skin a green glaze just to pull it a bit more toward like an olivey color and lift it off from the fur a bit. I think this might blend too much once the rest of it is painted. Used sort of an olivey green. Actually, I did make my own triad with this. It was yellow oliva from Vallejo Model Color, and he didn't have any fur, so he just has a bunch of metal and the skin tone. Then on this one I used Storm Green from Foundry for the skin, and the charcoal black triad, although I didn't use the brightest one. I wanted it to be a bit darker, so I mixed like a mid-tone between the shade and the original mid-tone, and then used the mid-tone as the highlight. And I think that came out pretty well. And then finally for the Goblin King, I gave him a really dark skin tone, because I wanted him to be a bit distinct from the other goblins who kind of have relatively bright green skin tones, so I wanted him to just stand out a bit. And to stand out even more, he got this garish ginger fur almost that he lifted from some sort of beastie. I don't know. But yeah, pretty happy how they turned out so far. Probably gonna need 2-3 more days to finish all the other stuff now. It's a bunch more of the leather areas, the clothing, some bone. And that's really it. I really like painting these because there really isn't that much to them. They're very simple figures, but they end up turning out like when they're finished they look really nice. And they're very old school. I really like that. They're very sort of pre-Lord of the Rings movies, Lord of the Rings, I guess. So kind of how orcs and goblins looked in the illustrations from John Howe and Adam Lee, and I really enjoy that. So yeah, that's how far I am with the Beccas command. I'll probably have another video of this, maybe not tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll have to do a bunch more work on this commission that I'm working on, these grots. But yeah, other than that, doing pretty well on these. Alright, thanks for watching, if at this point anybody is watching, but I wanted to make these videos anyway, just in case Beccas stumbles on them, just to give him something to watch and take his mind off any recovery anxiety or pain that he might have. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. See you again, hopefully very soon, and take care.